Hey friends, this is the MrsVolfie from our Half Acre Homestead, and today we're going to make homestead style donuts. Okay, first things first, you're going to need a cup of lukewarm water to which you've stirred in maybe a tablespoon of sugar into the cowgirl that goes. Along with a generous tablespoon of fast-acting yeast. You're going to need 2.5 to 3 cups of flour, 1 beaten egg, 1/3 of a cup of melted or softened butter, some vanilla, and you're going to need sugar and cinnamon to dust them in. Okay. And I've got my dough hook in there, and I'm going to add a little bit of flour to get things moving. I'm going to dump my egg into my water cup just to get the last of that sugar out and dump that in there. A shot of vanilla. Let's get the softened butter in there. Might be better if you melted it. And then we're just going to start adding our flour. And we'll let that knead for about 5 minutes. Scraping down the sides if you need to. Okay, that's nice and sticky. Now you don't want this as thick as bread dough. You do want it somewhat sticky, and you're going to want some flour, maybe an extra 1/2 cup just for rolling your dough out on. Okay, so here's our dough, and it's really quite sticky, but it is coming away from the sides just lovely. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the dough, and I'm going to drop about a teaspoon to a tablespoon of oil in my bowl, and I'm just going to move this around so that it doesn't stick to the sides. So we've got it coated in oil. We're going to put a shopping bag over it, and we're going to put this in the oven with just the oven light on for about a half an hour, and we'll be back when it's risen. I've just turned the fryer on, and I've set it at 374 degrees, and we're going to let that heat up as we work on our donut dough. I always use sunflower oil. Okay, as you can see, our dough has risen beautifully, and we're going to punch it down. I'm going to scatter some flour on our cloth here. Many people ask, why do I put a cloth down? Because then I can just take it outside, flick the flour out of it, and then throw it in the wash, and it makes cleanup a breeze. So let's get our donut dough out of here. That is beautiful. Fold it over a couple of times, kind of make it into a rectangle, and then I'm going to roll it into a rectangle, about a 1/2 inch thick. And we do this while our oil is heating. Now when these come out of the oil, you're going to want a plate of cinnamon and sugar just to drop these on afterwards. Now, interestingly enough, I call these homestead donuts is because this is the style of donuts that Almanzo Wilder's mother used to make. She didn't hold with fancy newfangled donuts that had holes in them because they had to be turned over. And apparently, if you do this correctly, these will unroll in the fat once they're half cooked. So we take their donut dough and we pinch the end. Well, actually, let's try that again. We're going to take our donut dough, give it a swirl, pinch the ends together, and lay it over here. Okay, let's get these into the fryer. Okay, so we've got some sugar in a bowl. We're going to put some cinnamon in there. I think I made these too big. Now, They're supposed to swell up and then flip over when they're half cooked. I don't think that's going to happen. I think my basket is too small. Yeah, it's too big to flip over, so let's flip it over. I may have to cut some of these in half. And we'll take it out of the oil, tap it off, and drop it into our sugar and cinnamon. Let's try a smaller donut while we toss this one. They're beautiful though. So when I have all these donuts done, we'll be back to try them. I'm going to have to work these differently or make these differently because I did have one roll over by itself in the oil once it had cooked to the center. So I'm going to play with it a bit. But these are delicious and they're just dusted with cinnamon sugar. Oh my God. Look at this. Sweet with just a bit of sugar, light, fluffy, no doughiness. Perfect, perfect. This is the MrsVolfie from our half-acre homestead saying, Homestead donuts. Light, fluffy, golden, delicious, and not a lot of sugar. These are not your crappy chemical-filled donut shop donuts. Not at all. Take care, God bless.